Focus your attention on this clip. It is bright, sharp, high-definition footage recorded at 1:14 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. There is no rain, no darkness, no grainy shadows to hide the truth. Sun is shining on the manicured lawn of a suburban home in Denver. The kind of neighborhood where fences are low and neighbors wave to each other. The Ring camera is mounted at eye level, capturing the front porch in perfect 4K detail. A delivery driver, a young man wearing a red vest and a baseball cap, walks into the frame. He holds a brown paper bag from a local Thai restaurant, the grease already spotting the bottom corners. He rings the doorbell. You hear the chime echo inside the house, a cheerful digital melody that stands in stark contrast to what is about to happen. 4 seconds later, the door opens. A woman steps out. Her name is Elena. She is 32 years old, a senior software engineer who works from home, dressed in gray sweatpants and a faded university hoodie. She looks tired, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, the look of someone who has been staring at a screen for 6 hours. She smiles briefly, polite, automatic reflex, and takes the bag. She mutters a quiet thank you, and the driver nods, turns, and walks away, disappearing down the driveway toward his car. This is where the footage defies logic. This is where the ordinary becomes impossible. Does not turn around and go back inside. She does not close the door against the heat of the afternoon. She stands there, holding the bag with both hands, staring directly at the open doorway of her own home. She doesn't move. She doesn't blink. Her chest does not rise or fall. With breath. For exactly 12 seconds, she is frozen, like a statue carved out of fear, or a video game character that has paused. Then, in a single frame, 1/30th of a second, she is gone. There is no blur of motion, no sound of running, no scream. 1 second she is standing there, solid and real, and the next, the porch is empty. The only thing that remains, paper food bag, sitting upright on the welcome mat, as if it was placed there by a ghost. Door is still wide open, leading into a dark hallway that swallows the sunlight. The footage continues for another hour, recording nothing but the empty porch and the cooling food. To understand how a woman can vanish into thin air in broad daylight, you have to peel back the layers of Elena Russo's life. She was a creature of habit, a woman who lived by the clock to manage the high-stress demands of her career. Her neighbors described her as quiet, intensely private, and incredibly disciplined. She was the lead auditor for a cybersecurity firm, tasked with finding vulnerabilities in banking software. It was a job that required paranoia, precision, and isolation. She ordered lunch delivery every day at exactly 1 p.m. It was the only interaction she had with the outside world during her workday. She lived alone. Her family was on the East Coast, and her social life was mostly digital. This isolation, as we have seen in so many cases, is a double-edged sword. It protects you from distractions, allowing for deep work, removes the witnesses from your life. It creates a bubble where silence can stretch on for days, without anyone noticing. When Elena didn't log off from her secure work server at 5 p.m., her supervisor sent a message via Slack. It went unread. When she didn't show up for the critical 9 a.m. meeting the next morning, he called her cell phone. It went straight to voicemail. By 10 a.m., concerned by her uncharacteristic absence, he called the Denver police for a welfare check. Officers arrived at the house at 10:45 a.m. on Wednesday. They found the front door wide open, just as it was in the footage from the previous day. The food bag was still on the porch, untouched, ants beginning to crawl up the side of the paper. Inside, the house was silent. Air conditioning was humming. There were no overturned chairs, no shattered glass, no signs of a struggle in the hallway. Her laptop was open on the dining table, the cursor blinking on a line. Her coffee cup was half full, a film formed on the surface. It was as if she had simply ceased to exist in the middle of a sentence. The police immediately focused on the delivery driver. In 90% of cases, the last person to see the victim alive is the key suspect. They brought him in for questioning that. His name was Kyle, a 20-year-old college student working a summer job to pay for tuition. He was terrified, shaking in the interrogation room, swearing he didn't do anything. He described the interaction in detail. The order was pad thai. She looked tired. He handed it to her, and he left. He didn't hear anything suspicious. He didn't see anyone else. His alibi was rock solid. His GPS data from the delivery app showed he drove straight to his next delivery, 3 miles away, immediately after leaving Elena's porch. The timestamps matched perfectly. Ring camera footage from the next house he visited showed him dropping off a pizza 10 minutes later, looking calm and unruffled. He was cleared within 6 hours. That left investigators with nothing but the footage. Detectives sat in the precinct media room and watched the clip 100 times. They slowed it down to individual frames. They zoomed in on Elena's face, looking for a sign of distress, micro-expression of fear. They couldn't explain the 12 seconds of absolute stillness, or the impossible disappearance. It looked like a glitch, a corrupted file, or a dropped connection due to bandwidth issues. But Detective Mark Miller, a specialist in digital forensics, saw something else. He noticed the background. During those 12 seconds where Elena stands frozen, the shadows of the oak trees on the lawn do not move. The wind chimes hanging in the corner of the porch, which had been swaying gently in the breeze seconds before, become perfectly static. A bird that was flying across the upper left corner of the screen freezes in mid-air. World around her had stopped. This wasn't a biological freeze, it was a digital one. Had manipulated the feed. The footage wasn't showing reality, it was showing a loop. A single, 1-second clip of Elena standing there holding the bag had been repeated 12 times to cover up what was actually happening during those 12 seconds. And the moment she vanished, the sudden cut to the empty porch was when the live feed was restored. This revelation turned a missing person case into a high-level cybercrime investigation. Who had the skill to hack a localized security, feed in real time, splice a video loop, and execute an abduction simultaneously? The answer lay in Elena's own work. She wasn't just writing code, she was auditing the security protocols of a major tech conglomerate called VeriSafe. VeriSafe manufactured the smart home hub that Elena used in her own house, the system that controlled her lights, her locks, and her cameras. 3 days before she vanished, Elena had filed a Priority Zero bug report. She had discovered a catastrophic vulnerability, a backdoor in the VeriSafe system's firmware, found that a specific line of code allowed external users with admin privileges to bridge into the local network, loop camera feeds, disable alarms, and unlock smart locks without leaving a digital trace in the user's log. She thought she was fixing a bug. In reality, she was exposing a weapon. She had sent the report to the chief technical officer, but she had also flagged it to the external contractor who had written the original code, a man named Marcus Vane. Marcus Vane was a former prodigy, a coder who had been fired from 3 different startups for unethical data mining and stalking behavior. He was brilliant but unstable. When police dug into his background, they found that he hadn't just written the code, he had embedded the backdoor. Intentionally, he used it to spy on users, a digital voyeur collecting moments of people's private lives. Elena Russo hadn't just found a bug, she had found Marcus Vane's private peephole. Marcus Vane knew it. He had been monitoring her keystrokes. He read the report the moment she typed it. He knew his career and his freedom were about to end. Detectives believed that on that Tuesday afternoon at 1:14 p.m., the killer was already inside. He didn't break into her house with a crowbar. He broke in with a laptop. He had parked his van a block away, accessing her Wi-Fi network using the very vulnerability she had discovered. Disabled the window sensors. He unlocked the back door electronically. He entered the house at 11 a.m., while Elena was on a conference call. He waited in the guest bedroom, listening to her type, listening to her breathe. He waited for the one moment he knew she would be vulnerable, the 1 p.m. delivery. He was watching the Ring camera feed on his own tablet, waiting for the driver to leave. The police raided Marcus Vane's apartment in Boulder 2 days after the discovery of the loop. Vane was not there, but his equipment was. In the basement, they found a server rack that was humming with heat. It was mirroring the feeds of 50 different homes in the Denver area, including Elena's. On an encrypted drive, protected by 3 layers of passwords that took the FBI a week to crack, they found the black folder. Inside was the original, unedited footage. It was horrific. It showed the truth of those 12 seconds that the loop had hidden in the unedited clip. Elena doesn't stand still. As the delivery driver walks away, she turns to go. Back inside, she steps into the hallway. Suddenly, a hand, gloved in black leather, reaches out. From the darkness of the interior, it grabs her by the hair. Elena drops the bag. She tries to scream, but a second hand clamps over her mouth instantly. She is dragged backward into the dark with terrifying speed. She kicks out, her sneaker catching the doorframe, but the door is slammed shut by the intruder. The entire event takes 4 seconds. Glitch, the 12-second loop of her standing still, was a precise, calculated edit performed in real time by Vane to mask the abduction from anyone watching the cloud server. He froze the world just long enough to take her, then cut the feed back to the live view of the empty porch. Marcus Vane was arrested a week later near the Canadian border. He was driving a rental car with false plates. In the trunk, they found zip ties, duct tape, and Elena's broken laptop. Not find Elena. Vane refused to speak. He sat in the interrogation room for hours, a slight, arrogant smile on his face. He knew that without a body, the prosecution's case would be harder. He was convicted on kidnapping and cyber-stalking charges based on the digital evidence and the unedited footage, but the location of Elena Russo remains a mystery. The house on the quiet suburban street sat empty for 2 years. The neighbors complained that they couldn't look at the porch without seeing her standing there. It was eventually sold to a young couple who ripped out the smart system and replaced it with old-fashioned deadbolts and analog alarms. But the footage remains online. A viral clip titled "The Glitch Woman." Share it on forums, speculating about supernatural portals, alien abductions, or government experiments. They analyze the pixels, looking for magic, desperate to believe that she simply stepped into another dimension. But the truth is far colder than magic. The truth is that we invite these eyes into our homes, cameras, the microphones, the smart locks, believing they are there to watch over us. Forget that eyes work both ways. The camera that was supposed to protect Elena Russo became the tool that facilitated her disappearance. It became the window through which a predator learned her routine, and the screen behind which he hid his crime. The terrifying reality of that Tuesday afternoon is not that she vanished into thin air, but that she was erased by someone who held the remote control to her life. The brown paper bag on the porch remains the haunting anchor of the story, a mundane object left behind in a world that had ceased to be, a testament to the moment a routine lunch break turned into a permanent silence. Elena Russo is still listed as a missing person, a ghost in the machine, frozen forever in those 12 seconds of artificial sunlight.